Hey guys, this is Ruben from Dubb on Connection Loop. This is our podcast, and this really gives us a phenomenal opportunity to speak and network with people all around the world, with entrepreneurs and with founders and with really communicators and storytellers. So I have on the call Jeffrey, and Jeffrey has a very diverse background. He's done a lot of great things within education and teaching and casting information. So Jeffrey, I want to pass the mic to you. I just want to sort of understand a little bit about yourself. I want to understand what TeacherCast is, and then we'll get into it.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Ruben, for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here. Just a little bit of background on myself. I've been an educator for the last 18 years, got myself started in music education, and I am the proud father of almost 6-year-old triplets, and they are the love of my life. 8 years ago, I started a podcasting network called the TeacherCast Educational Network, where we serve the classroom by basically connecting the edtech companies to those educators who are using the technology. And I've been doing it for the last 8 years and have done well over 1,000 podcasts. And it's been absolutely a blast getting a chance to meet so many different great companies and educators and having a chance to work with them every single day.
That's incredible. So you're really an early adopter in the whole podcast movement. I mean, you've done almost 1,000 podcasts. That's pretty incredible. I've done almost 7.
You know, when I first started podcasting, education hadn't quite learned what a podcast is and what it can do for the classroom. I always say that we've kind of gone through 3 amazing waves of podcasts over the last 8 years. You know, you first had Google Hangouts, which got big. And then a couple of years later, you had things like Periscope and Blab, which got big. And notice I'm mentioning like free applications, which is in education what we like to use. And then recently we have things like Anchor and other free platforms that are allowing not only, you know, educators to get into podcasting, but also to have the whole use of audio and video really being used and shared in the classroom as a learning opportunity for students. It is absolutely a blast getting a chance to work with teachers on how to podcast and where to find great information.
I was really brought to podcasting because I think for a couple of reasons. Number one is that I love to network. I love to speak to people. I love to learn. I love to develop relationships on calls just like this one. But I was experiencing a frustration point where, if I had a great conversation and that conversation was private, that I wasn't able to kind of distribute or share whatever it is that I learned with people. I always said to myself after I had a call, wow, that was really educational. I really learned from that. I wish other people could know about that. And I sort of kept it to myself. And then if I had an opportunity at a future date, I would say, oh, so-and-so person mentioned that you should use X, Y, and Z. And rarely did I remember that, and so on and so forth. So really, I think why I love podcasting is because it's just a way to kind of feed 2 birds with one seed. Number one is that you get to network, you get to develop that relationship, create content, but then you just get to share it, disseminate it, and have other people benefit from it. And I think the tertiary benefit from it that I've sort of realized is that it's an amazing brand lifter.
It is. And you said the right word. It's a conversation, and I say this to all of my guests before we hit the record button. No matter how many shows I've ever recorded, I've never once felt like I was interviewing anybody. It's always a conversation. And when you look at it as that conversation, it's just like going out to dinner with somebody. You're having, a back and forth dialogue. And I feel that it really puts your guests at ease. They don't feel like they're on, and they're able to share a lot more. I mean, TeacherCast really started because I had teachers in my school district asking me questions about how to use educational technology. And, I've got some answers, but I certainly didn't have all of them. So I invited somebody on and we hit the record button. And next thing you know, the TeacherCast podcast was created. And it was just a way to bring other people into a conversation and you record it. And then from there, hundreds of ed tech companies and working with Microsoft and working with Dell and HP and all these other places, it's been absolutely a blast. And as you said, you're getting a chance to network and you're getting a chance to, not only build your own brand, but you're helping others build your brand together.
That's awesome. I'm actually on the TeacherCast website right now. So it's TeacherCastnet.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do we find your podcast?
Oh, if you go over to TeacherCast.net/subscribe, you can find everything. We've got a few different shows out there. I do one for people who want to podcast called Educational Podcasting Today. And really for that, we speak to teachers who want to bring things into their classrooms and really create podcasts in their home studio. And our whole mission for that show is, can you podcast for free? And I try to come up with a yes for all those. But, I do shows for technology coaches. I do shows with vendors. We should do a show called EdTech in the Classroom, where I bring great companies on and we talk about how their products can be used. There's a lot of different things that TeacherCast has kind of taken me down that road. And you can always just go over to TeacherCastnet and, really find whatever you're looking for.
Very cool. So you're a family guy. So what is
am.
that like? How do you juggle all this? I mean, I see in this video that your door is closed behind you. Maybe that's a closet, maybe it's not. So what happens when the kids come running to your door, slamming on the door, and want to get your attention? How do you handle that? I'll tell you how I handle it on my end.
Well, every door has a lock. Look,
Both metaphorically and literally.
Yes. I am the proud father of almost 6-year-old triplets. It is a blast. We podcast together probably once or twice a month. And when I say podcast, I turn on my iPod and I ask them questions. What did you do at school today? What do you like to eat? What's your thoughts on this TV show? Just because I want to get them talking. I want to get them to have conversations, not only with me, but with each other. So we're actually at the point now where they can pretend that they're the host of the show and we do the Robert show or we do the Christopher show. And it is absolutely an amazing experience to watch the kids grow up using the technology. We play Legos, we do a lot of stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, one of the things that we like to do is we do little Dubb videos and then we send them to the grandparents. That way the grandparents get the little animated graphics on their emails. It's one of those things that we like to do. And, having kids at this age is really, really awesome.
That's very cool. So have you considered publishing those podcasts and actually making them real?
No, because they're not polished. We might talk for 15 minutes and it just kind of goes around in circles. I can see one day doing a show with them. If you look around the podcasting space, Pat Flynn just launched a show with his little boy. And it's a great little show, basically just talking about what are you doing today? I could see that, but not at 5 years old. They're not there yet. I mean, we're doing audio and we're sending them to family members.
I started recording some videos of my kid just sort of explaining what he's working on and some of his science projects and Legos and the things that he's building. He's a great builder. I guess he gets that from me a little bit. But what he's started to do is that he started to explain and give narration for his videos. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to create this Lego. So obviously he's emulating what he's seeing on the internet. He doesn't watch too much. We give him a little bit of screen time, but he's taken on this sort of micro personality of being this, video educator. So, I've been sort of thinking about it. I've been contemplating. And of course I've asked him, hey, do you want us to create a channel for you? Do you want a YouTube show? Do you want a website? Do you want a podcast? And, the answers have been more than not. It's been, yes, I want to do that. So we've been kind of poking around and fooling around. And it's pretty amazing that at such an early age now, kids can adopt technology to educate, to communicate. I mean, what were we doing at that age? I was probably on a bike somewhere, right?
I was playing with He-Man and Voltron, I think, back then. I mean, my kids love playing on the iPad. They use an app called Toontastic, which is a Google application that basically is all about storytelling. They love doing that. And, it's not going to be too long before we really put, technology behind them and see what they can do. They love watching cookie videos and baking videos. And, I could see doing something, again, publishing it for the world. I'm not sure yet, but definitely sending it to grandma and grandpa. It's content creation.
Well, speaking of content creation, I mean, one of the things that I instantly get from you is this, and it's obviously from all your experience, but, you're instantly comfortable, confident, you're able to communicate, you freeform very well in the audio video format. One of the things that we always hear about from people that are just onboarding themselves to the whole idea of video communication and video marketing and using video for sales is that they simply don't feel comfortable. I feel like an imposter. I'm not comfortable. This is what influencers do on the internet. This is not for me. They do 1,000 takes. I've had people send me videos where you can tell it's their 15th take and they're still saying 1,000 times. They're not comfortable. They're looking down. So I think you get it. How can people become more comfortable, more confident on camera?
One of the things that I like to encourage every podcaster to do is edit their own shows. And so many times you see a podcaster say, I have somebody else that edits it for me. And I always say, great, if you can afford it, go for it. That's awesome. But take the time to edit your show maybe once a month, once every other month. Kind of get a chance to hear your own self speak. I know a lot of podcasters that don't even listen to their own shows. And we only learn from listening to ourselves. And we only learn by kind of going back and hearing where we are. I always kind of, when you were saying that, I was going back to the Jerry Seinfeld. There's two things that people are scared of. The first one is public speaking, and the second one is death. And his thing is,
with Dubb, you can easily send your business videos from Gmail, LinkedIn, CRMs, and so many more places, but you don't have to take my word for it.
Absolutely perfect.
Screen records, landing pages that can really help businesses to grow.